Happy Friday, guys, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Dubs. I'm your host, Bill T. Well, it's Friday, and you know what that means. We've got a podcast coming to you today, and on today's show, we're going to be doing a roundtable with Bill and George T. So your two favorite knuckleheads in the Volkswagen scene. We're going to be talking about what's happening this summer. We're going to review we're going to discuss some of the car shows that are set up. We're also going to talk about some topical things that are happening in the scene today. Also, we've got big plans for this year. We'll touch back a little bit on One Crazy Weekend. We're going to talk a little bit about some magazine stuff. We're going to talk about quite a few different things. So if you're into getting into the soup, man, this is the episode for you. So without any further ado, guys, let's get into it this week. Roundtable, George and Bill T, spring of 2025 on Let's Talk Dubs.
You probably don't know there's a new Volkswagen out that doesn't look like a Volkswagen. It's got everything that people who like the bug like. So if you happen to see a good-looking Volkswagen,
George T,
Bill T.
what's going on, brother?
Living the dream, dude. We're in America, brother.
That's it. We're here.
We're in Trump's America.
Look at George getting a little political, bro. Someone's going to unfollow. Listen, now we don't want to get it political over here. We're as unbiased as we can. Listen, but we love this country, man. Our parents are immigrants, and they came to this country. They followed a process to get here, and we're first generation Americans. And God bless America. That's all I can say.
That's it.
Anyway, there's lots going on. Before we get into this real quick, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Ross Wolf, high quality aftermarket parts. Don't forget to go check out their website today. All kinds of cool stuff on sale. If you want cool stuff built by enthusiasts for enthusiasts, go check out Ross Wolf today at rosswolf.com. Maybe pick yourself up some cool Viton seals. You know, George, you work a lot with the Viton seals.
I'm filming a video this week for the Viton push rod.
How's your experience been with working on the sump plate covers?
So the sump plate covers I have on my bus, and I've been putting on every bus that I work on, or every VW I work on right now. The fact that it does not leak at all. Not a drop. It's pretty insane. You don't get those little drippies on all your nuts, none of that stuff.
I hate getting drippies on my nuts, bro.
Pull them off,
They
wash them,
make a shot
and
for
reuse
that.
them. That's even better.
So there, you don't put any kind of
nothing.
Any adhesive.
So matter of fact, not only do you not put sealant on it, I really make sure it's clean. I alcohol wash both surfaces, and then I wash the Viton gasket off itself with some Dawn dishwashing soap, nice and simple. Make sure it's good and dry, and then reapply it.
Very cool.
No sealant, no nothing. So that's one less part you have to have too. You don't have to have.
Well, you guys know what to do now with the Viton seal. So go check them out today at rosswolf.com. So that's Wolf with a U. So go check them out, Ross Wolf. Make sure you tell them, listen, man, I heard it from you guys on Let's Talk Dubs. And also they have a discount code that is LTD. I think it's LTD 15. I'll make sure I find the discount code for you guys.
And I'll put a link in
that we have. And I'll put a link down in the description below, so you can get a discount using Let's Talk Dubs. So we'll find that out for you guys.
I'll give you a little testimony about Ross Wolf. They're just really good guys, and every time I talk to them and put my order in or whatever the case is, they're easy to deal with. And when in the very, very rare occasions I've ever had issue with their product, it's handled instantly. You know, Jason is on top of that. So I really recommend using Ross Wolf products. I love their pulleys. You cannot beat that upper pulley. That upper pulley is just, not only does it look great with the 36 millimeter head on it, but the 3 bolts that actually hold the tension on your belt, as opposed to everything relying on the mounting bolt. That's just great. It's freaking awesome.
So the discount code is LTD10 for 10% off anything you buy on Ross Wolf's website. So go support them today. Also, VW Trends Magazine, back from the past. They're putting out all kinds of cool stuff. Latest issue had the Fridlin on the cover. Pretty cool magazine. There's definitely lots of variety in VW Trends Magazine. It's covering the top trends in the VW scene today. So go subscribe today at vwtrendsmagazine.com. So
and they do air and water cooled, right?
They do air and water cooled, and a lot of how-tos, and a lot of content in the magazine. So it comes out at this point. It's coming out about quarterly. So you guys should make sure you go check it out. Subscribe today at vwtrends.com. Hopefully they'll be coming out soon with the One Crazy Weekend feature.
Hopefully.
I've been waiting on that from all the magazines.
None.
Listen,
Crickets.
And we're going to go right into One Crazy Weekend, because if you haven't booked your room yet, book your room. I've been on the phone working with some people and talking, and there's a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes because I'm getting at it early this year. So it's going to be really, really cool stuff that's happening this year. We've added for one crazy weekend, which is going to be October 2nd through the 4th, there's going to be an actual poker tournament where there'll be prizes put up, and that's going to be put on by VW Trends. So there's going to be an actual poker tournament with prizes to win. I mean, how cool would that be? All the VW people in the industry playing poker against one another, like it's a legitimate poker setup run through the casino, but they're giving away VW prizes for the prizes. So that's cool. It's going to be a bowling tournament put on by Ross Wolf. And I know George's a big bowler. George's a big bowler. So right now we're hammering out the dates that are going to happen. But I'm thinking I'd like to do the poker tournament on Thursday evening, so that way it'd be something fun to do with that. But again,
Friday daytime would be cool for the bowling tournament.
This is subject to be a bit malleable because Thursday is typically a day, because some people said, oh man, I had one guy comment, I booked my room on Thursday. And last year, I reached out to a couple places. We had Mini Grand Prix. We had the Punk Rock Museum. We had a couple places that had given discounts to people that would go there, so that the purpose behind Thursday is like you show up, you're at the hotel, you have VIP parking in the secured space, and then you can go different places where kind of the locals go and check out some stuff. You get a discount when you go there. You get preferential parking when you go there, and it's just something kind of cool. So we're adding to that every year, so that Thursday during the day you can kind of go see Vegas. I mean, that's what some people are maybe not connecting with on this. And when people fly in from out of town, they get a little bit, they might be like, oh, I'm here at the hotel. There's not a lot. This year we had 50 cars on Thursday. Man. I mean, it was
insane.
It was wild. And we overfilled the parking lot this year. We are now moving to the top floor of the parking garage, which is 4 times the space. So we got room for tons and tons of people. We're going to have way more vendors. We may even have a small swap section. There's no guarantees, but that will be the absolute last thing. But we're going to have 4 times the amount of space. Last year, we had just under 250 cars, which I know I see a lot. It's funny. I see a lot of people posting a show at the park, and they're like, yeah, 350 cars at the park. Like, yeah, and everybody's there for 6 hours, and then they leave. This is 250 cars for an entire weekend that are hanging out together. And hopefully this year will be 500 cars, because it's more of an experience. And we're going to get into this a little bit, because I'm going to talk about the summer events coming up for VWs in Southern California. Again, everybody knows my opinion on this. All of the people in California have ruined the California weekend, because instead of working together collectively as a group, like putting your egos to the side and saying, hey guys, let's do this. And I know they all believe that they made this wonderful, and they made this great California week. And I'm sure if you asked them, it was so much more with this week-long camp out and that and this. And again, those are 2 separate groups of people. The people from Europe, they don't come here to go to the campouts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't really interest them. That's more for the locals, and what made the classic weekend. And this is only coming from a guy who went to the shows.
We used to make it every year.
Well, the classic.
We did a California weekend every year for 15 years. What?
Yeah.
Like since we were kids.
Yeah.
We were children going there. Jamboree and Classic were our 2 shows we traveled to every year, and it was a staple. We looked forward to it. We literally would take the week off. We'd show up on Wednesday.
If you remember, so the first year that we really started kicking back up and going again, like after everybody takes like that midlife hiatus.
About 2004.
It was 2002 is when I debuted my bus.
Okay, yeah.
2002, because in 2003 is when my bus came out in the magazine. It would have followed later that year or shortly after. And so we go from that point forward. It was first me and a couple people, and then it started building. The Vegas group started getting back together, and over a couple of years we had that whole section. Now here's what made it cool, right? I was telling someone this the other day, because I looked at this VW revival week, okay? And it's not designed for me. And here's why it's not designed. When I would go to the Crown Plaza, I would have, out in front of the Crown Plaza, you'd see 20 trailers. People would be coming from Northern California, Utah, wherever. They'd tow their rigs down. They had a spot to put a trailer, right? And then the show was 2 miles down the road. If you drove 10 miles, 15 miles out of the way, you could go to Octo. And then they had the Toy and Literature show at 3:00 that took place at the Host Hotel.
Yep.
right? And so what happened was, as we started to show up there, the first year we'd show up Saturday morning, and then they had the open house and stuff like that. And, Octo open houses on Friday. So we started getting there on Friday. Then we started getting there on Thursday. Get there Thursday, get your spot, your situation, because what happened is all the people that wanted to show, because the Classic became the show to quote unquote show at, all the people that would come from out of town, they would all stay at that hotel. And then year after year, we'd start building, there's the guys from San Jose. There's the guys from Phoenix. There's these guys. And so every section of the thing. And so what would happen is all the people that would come to the host hotel for the Toy and Literature show would then linger in the parking lot for the next 4 or 5 hours afterwards, hanging out, having beers. It became this social event. And that was our focus when we came up with the idea, the concept of One Crazy Weekend is like,
correct.
We wanted the hang. Like the hang is what's fun. And a lot of people from Europe, they kind of laugh at us. They go, man, you guys go to car shows at 6 o'clock in the morning and everybody leaves by 1.
Yeah, they're a weekend event.
In Europe, they
more camp.
It's
the raves all night.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when I was
doing raves.
So when I was looking at this year's VW Revival, I was just kind of like, okay, first it didn't make sense.
I'm not familiar with the Revival. What is this?
Well, the Revival is their way of trying to start the VW Classic again. I mean, they may have a different thing on it, but I don't know. I guess I would just buy the name back. I mean, but if they're doing the VW Revival, they're missing it, because what made it cool was the host hotel was in the hub of so much, the Toy and Literature show being at the host hotel, and then the show being not far down the road. So if you went to the show, the reason why the Classic started dying at like 1 o'clock is because a large majority of people were from out of town.
Yeah.
There was a whole weekend of stuff to happen, and people wanted to get on the road.
And it's June. It's hot.
Correct. But people wanted to get back. Like me, we would roll out about 1 o'clock. It's like, let's get loaded up so we can get home, because we're kind of VW'd out at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And now they've added twice the events on 2 different weekends. And so what was your impression of what was the Friday night thing to do?
And Dick's Burgers?
Right.
Yeah.
Whose meet was that?
KP.
This year's DKK.
They're,
This Decliner Camp Wagons. And so they're another club, but that first weekend now, DKK is doing them instead of DKP. DKP is having their meet the next weekend on the 15th because they're whatever reason that they're doing that. But again, the format's changed a bit because it's with a DKP
Too
meet.
many Chiefs, not enough.
Well,
Indians.
again, this is my 2 cents, and I have every right to these 2 cents because I was a spectator and a person that it was my favorite.
We are enthusiasts. We
Look,
are
bro,
the audience.
It was my birthday weekend. It's
Yeah.
like my favorite thing to do. I go down there. It's a great time. I mean, it's like I have stacks of pictures of Classic Weekend. It's like I'd see my buddy Greg Banfield. I'd see Tony Marisi. I'd see all these guys from all over. And the cool part about the host hotel, so they have the host hotel is about 30 miles from the event on Sunday. And it's like you got to go past Irvine. So I looped everything. I just went and did a Google map for everything. The entire loop, if you go to the DKK meet, you go to Octo the next day, you go to the Type 3 open house, then you go to the host hotel, and then you go to the car show. That's 125 miles. It's fairly spread out.
And that's 125 miles in California traffic, like not.
Well, now
not
think
like
about
all
this.
open road.
So if I was going to go to that car show, I want to drive my car to that show from the hotel. Now I don't want to drive my car over Baker Grade and through the desert in the middle of June and show up and we got turtle heads imprinted on the seat from sweating and all kind of stuff. I don't need all that. I'm trying to show up, roll out, hang out, and then so I tow my stuff down to California. I have zero shame in that. Tow it in from California. Guys from Phoenix, most of them will do the same except for Alan. And then, but he doesn't even drive VW anymore. So Alan, get your life right. Get your life right, Alan. You know exactly who I'm talking to. It's a dry heat. All right. So anyway, though, so
if
now
you're driving your car.
So if I drive to the show, if there's no truck and trailer parking at the place near Disneyland at all. I already aerial mapped it. There's no place I'm putting a trailer. So then I have 2 choices: to trailer my car 30 miles away to the show, unload it, drive it into the show, load it back up and leave, which takes the fun out of it because I want to drive my car into the show. California weather's nice. It's nice and cool, all that stuff. So for me, as it stands right now, looking at the weekend, and DKP meet used to have a spot where they would debut the cars, like the cars that just came out that year.
Yep.
There was a spot where those cars came out. I don't know if DKK is doing the same thing. I know we have a few listeners that are in DKK, so I'm sure someone will reach out to me after this podcast and let me know if they're going to have a space for cars that are debuting. But again, a lot of this has died because of the lack of the Classic on Sunday, and now they're trying to start it up again with the Revival.
Is the main show on Sunday or Saturday?
The only show is on Sunday. As far as I know, there's nothing.
Is an Octo that weekend too?
Yeah, Octo is that weekend. Yes. So according to the flyer states new for 2025 is reviving classic Periscope Enterprise is reviving a classic VW weekend in Southern California. We'll kick off SoCal Week Friday, May 30th with DKK's cruise at Taqueria on Saturday. 8 a.m. The Octo bus show will take place in Long Beach Stadium, followed by the ISP West Open House. The main event, the VW Revival, will start Sunday morning, June 1st. Gates open at 8 a.m. and Ranch and Mission Viejo Riding Center in San Juan Capistrano. So, same stuff. Spectator interest $20. Swap meet entries $40. Cash only at the gate. Parking is car show entries included. We'll be celebrating 50 years of Cal Look with a special show class, which will be judged by none other than Dr. Detail himself. So there's apparently a special show class just for Cal Look stuff. So no reason for me to bring. That's how I read this. No reason for me to bring Zorba there. It's kind of whatever. So I there's no need for me to bring Zorba to the DKK meet because they're not doing. I don't know. Is there a debut car section? Is there, because that was the thing that they had with the DKP meet.
Yeah, with Nick's Burgers.
Again, for them.
Is it in the same location? Is the Taqueria place the old Nick's Burger building or no?
No, it's a different place. But anyway, so we'll see what happens. I know some of you guys are like, oh, he's a hater. I'm not a hater, man. I used to go. It was my favorite weekend. A bunch of guys' egos got in the way. They started fighting each other. The same thing that happened here in Vegas.
Same thing happened in Las Vegas.
Same thing happened in Vegas. Promoters, egos, all this stuff. And then it's just like, instead of working together, because there's a common goal here. But I think if your common goal is the almighty dollar, then it ain't going to work. If your common goal is to create a memorable weekend for people to have, well, there probably could be some adjustments made, because my personal feelings on all this is, I mean, we used to go. It was my favorite weekend ever since it stopped, and they stopped having the Irvine Amphitheater, all that stuff. It just kind of fell apart after that, and for me, it's different now. So, it's a bummer because it was my favorite weekend. So I think if I do go, I may go Friday night. Again, California. I live here. Okay, I'm not broke.
It's a hot drive. That's another bummer.
I'm not broke, bro. Okay, but do I want to spend $1,000 for hotel rooms for the weekend? Yeah. Twice? Because the next weekend it is a DKP meet. The DKP is having a club, a picnic, DKP 60th anniversary picnic that they're having, and all the Europeans are going to be on the next weekend. So again, this is one of those things where, it's unfortunate that the group couldn't get together. And when I mean the group, like all the people that understand the reason why people went there. But it's definitely different this year. So if I do go down, which I just in my head, I just talked myself out of it. I was like, do I want to spend?
I think we should check it out.
Do I want to spend $500?
Yeah, that would be a drive up for a day. Like,
but here's the thing:
down real quick,
if I'm loading Zorba on a trailer to drive 30 miles to this car show, I'm not unloading it. I'm not going to unload it, do all that. So that it takes all of the fun out of driving your car there. So it's like, sure, I can find a different hotel that can accommodate my truck and trailer, and then I can drive from there to the show and then leave the show early so that I can go get my truck and trailer so I can get home before midnight.
But I think we should give it the benefit of the doubt. Maybe we should check it out.
No.
I think you and I should actually roll down, check it out.
Again,
us being promoters and putting on a show, we know what it takes to put on shows. So I think we should support it because it is an event.
I'm not saying not to support it. I'm just saying, like, if they're going for the Revival, they've completely missed the mark. They've missed the mark because I just laid out all the reasons why people came. Second, with the host hotel that you can have tons of Volkswagens parked at, which means you need trailer parking because local California people aren't going to stay the night in Anaheim when they live 30, 40 minutes away. They're just going to go where they go from, right? That's it.
Last couple of years, Crown Plaza was kind of iffy on the trailers anyways, just because how big it was getting.
They were doing a huge remodel. Yeah. Again.
I'm talking about when we were going heavy.
Yes.
Like you'd have trouble. I remember one time you were parked by the fountain for a while there.
Whatever.
And like we had to keep moving the cars around and dodging tickets and all that stuff.
Good luck towing that truck,
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a bummer because I've got great memories. My kids have great memories of all that stuff. And what they should have done is maybe reached out to some people that really enjoyed that weekend. Again, you can't
Where did the disconnect between DKP and the weekend come? I don't understand.
I don't know.
That.
Maybe someone will call and enlighten me on the insight.
Yeah, if you guys know the inside scoop of that, let Bill know.
Well, either way, that's where we're at with this weekend. Hopefully it's a success. I don't know if I'll show my car at the event. I'm going to try to be there that weekend. I for sure want to go to the Type 3 open house with Zorba.
Yeah.
And then it would be cool if DKK was doing something for debut cars, but I don't know if
they are, fill us in. Let us know.
Yeah. I mean, it's again, if you're trying to recreate the same thing, there's questions, things that aren't there. So,
because that was always a big thing with the Classic Weekend was debuting new cars, new builds.
And I'm going to be super busy because that weekend. So that's the first weekend of June. Mm-hmm. The second weekend of June is when there's going to be a lot of people from Europe in town, and there's currently I'm working on something with Dean Kirsten for that weekend, something special for the Europeans. And Friday night is going to be the DKP meet, and Saturday is going to be the DKP park
picnic.
DKP picnic. It's like their 60th anniversary picnic, and so that's going to be happening for that weekend. I'm going to take the Chop Top down there because that's my Cowlook car.
Yeah.
So with that happening, that's going to be the weekend, the 15th. The following weekend, I'm going to be in Canada.
Oh, for a Greg show.
Yeah. Well, you're wondering, right? The Niagara, please. I am going to the Niagara German Air Car Show and Social.
Awesome.
So I'm looking forward to that. Greg hit me up this week, and I told him they didn't get a kick. Everybody thought the "Take Me to Niagara, Please" I think is a great tagline for this show. It was kind of cracking me up. And so the show's going to be taking place.
You and only you, I bet, on that one.
No, bro. It's funny. There's just some things that are just generally funny. This show is going to be taking place at Fireman's Park in Niagara Falls. June 21st, there's a cruise. June 22nd is the show. And there's a cruise that they're going to meet up at Fireman's Park at 1 o'clock and roll out by 2. And then the next day, gates open at 7 a.m. So I saw this thing, and then I hit up Bob, and I said, Bob, Coach, Coach.
Yep.
Bob didn't know we called him Coach on the last podcast with Tori, because I said Bob looks like somebody you would just call Coach, like Coach D, whatever, because always wearing like some kind of sports top. And so Bob is like 6 hours from this show, and I said, it would be cool, Bob, if we took your cars and we drove them to this show, because he's got 3 cars. He's got 2 Bugs, and he's got the buggy, right, the Manx. Yep. And so I said, it would be super cool, Bob, if we rode that. And then Bob started telling me, like, you don't understand how hot it is. It's really hot. It's so hot in the summertime. And it's not like hot. You were freaking out, when it was hot and I was riding Zorba. And I said, dude, we're getting old. And how many more times are you going to want to be able to do this? And I said, and what's even cooler is if we're driving up from PA, how many other people would come up and drive up to PA? So then I threw up a little post on Facebook on the Let's Talk Dubs page. Mm-hmm. And I posted this and I said, who's with me? Let's storm the border. And then everybody got a little worried about that the phrasing there. I said,
your phrasing is getting really off lately, bro. Is all I gotta say.
I said, how cool would that be? That we are able to go to Pennsylvania, hop in Bob's cars, and drive them. But he was concerned about the 6 hours, and he's like, I don't have a 2-car trailer. And I'm like, yeah, but there's a big cruise on Friday. Let's do the cruise. Let's do the whole shebang, right? And so we'll see. We're gonna see how that works out. I think it'd be super rad if a bunch of people were involved in getting, kind of doing that cruise. And so there's some people giving some feedback. I think it would be cool. There's not a lot of East Coast cruises like that. And I certainly think it would be a great time to do that with everybody. And the cruise is on Saturday and the show is on Sunday. Just so I clarify. So I'd fly up there with the wife, me and the wife. Wednesday, Thursday we check out the vehicles, and then Friday we drive up, 6-hour drive, or make it 2 days, 3 hours each day. But I think East Coast driving is a little different. I know it's quote unquote got a lot of humidity, but I think it'd be a great time, man. So who knows? I mean, that would definitely be something I would look forward to doing. And guys, as we're all getting, we're getting a little older, we got some cars. I mean, I took my 64. I drove it to Canyon Country, bro. With 135s, with no interior, a sheepskin seat cover over the springs. Like, I drove it that far, and it was like, and that had a 40 horse in it, dude, down the Palmdale Death Highway. Like,
yeah, but ignorance is bliss,
right?
Because sometimes I have people that, man, this couple came by the shop and they had driven from Central America, and I was hearing their car running, and I said, your car does not sound good. And the guy said, oh, I'm going to work on it the next time we stop. And his next stop was like Reno.
And what when you said it didn't sound good, what did it sound like?
Oh, the valves were clacking like crazy, and like it wasn't idling well. Like, it needed attention. Like, you could tell the motor needed attention right now. And he's like, oh, we're gonna look at it again this time,
And you offered, like, hey, bring it in here. Let's.
I said, do you want me to look at it real quick? He said, no, I'm good. Don't worry about it. Okay. And he's driving on, and I'm sure they made it. I'll put money they probably made it.
But again, this is one of those things with maintenance, right? Like, if you don't do the little bit of maintenance, it turns into big maintenance.
When I worked at DRP, the deadheads, this was the early 90s when I worked there, the deadheads that would come in, that followed the Grateful Dead in their buses. I mean, those things all had bubble gum and baling wire holding them together, and they would drive them around the country. Following the dead,
It's
ignorance is bliss. If you don't know, you don't know. You're like, whatever, I'm good.
Yeah, it's definitely, with driving Zorba being bone stock, which we'll need to talk about the Roadster show too. I just got back from the Roadster shows last weekend.
I just got back from buses.
Yeah, so we need to talk about buses, and we need to talk about the Roadster show. So driving Zorba, like, the only thing I did is I adjusted one carburetor. I got the Courage, took the air cleaners off, and me, I don't like to mess with stuff because I got a little heavy hands. But I was able to adjust the carburetor, and my brother reminded me, he said, go get your shop manual, just look at it, how to adjust the carburetors. And then I grabbed the shop manual. I'm like, I got all these shop manuals in here, and I was like, okay, I'll just adjust the idle a bit. I just did it like you said in the videos. You listen by ear, and you just move it just a little bit and see if you hear a difference.
Listen to the reaction.
And I heard the idle start to flatten out where it's nice and smooth. I got in the car, and that's all I've had to do to Zorba so far. But it's one of those things where Zorba runs like
because Zorba's stock.
Correct.
And you keep talking about wanting to put a big motor in it.
Gotta go big
And as
motor.
soon as you put the big motor in it, you're going to have all the same issues you have with all the other cars. Really, you don't have many issues with the other cars. You'll have more with that one.
Who needs a wet blanket?
Because it's not a Type 4.
I know.
Like, realistically, your Type 4s are pretty bulletproof. They really have been. They're a testimony to it. Your Raby motor sitting at the shop right now, it was pushing the carbon cab around perfectly fine once we took it out of the Bull Run bus. And it's 20-something years old. And all we've ever done that thing is general maintenance.
Right.
Oil changes. I've never even had to adjust the valves. I check them, but I've never had to let me start turning them.
Is that crazy?
You know,
and that's the experience that I had with my 1904 that I had back in the day.
Come on, man, that was like a 1 year blip. And
No. But what I'm saying is, like, with that car, I drove it hard, but with those elephant feet adjusters and the way it was set, the valves almost never went out of adjustment with that.
Yeah, you have, if I remember correctly, on your Raby, I think they're stock adjusters.
No, they're 911 elephant feet adjusters on that thing.
Are they?
Mm-hmm.
It's been a minute since I popped that valve cover.
And I think that may be one of the reasons. I don't. What's your experience? Do you see the elephant feet adjusters staying in pretty solid?
Oh, 100%. When you see them fail, they fail big time, though, because the ball that goes inside. Now, let's clarify. When you're talking about a Porsche adjuster, it is a stem with a ball in it, and then this cup goes over it that has a flat area on it. A lot of people refer to the elephant foot as the one that has the cup and like a ball bearing with a flat spot on it that goes against the valve. Those are hot trash. The other one, the Porsche adjuster, they're very expensive. They're usually $15 each, somewhere in that area.
I'm worth it.
And they are awesome. Every motor I've done that we put them in, because usually they're with CB rockers, they're done that way. My motor, I have sweep foot adjusters. And I personally like the sweep foot because the sweep foot, you have to run the lash cap on it. But I think it's just a better design, less chance of failure.
Well, listen, the sweep foot, the club foot, the elephant foot, whatever
All right,
it is.
so let's get to buses real quick.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your experience at buses this year.
Drove out to buses by myself. Made it in record time like normal, like the wagon.
Hold on.
The
Didn't you
War
upgrade?
Wagon does.
Didn't you do an upgrade on the bus before you went?
I did install a diesel heater, which that video would be coming out. And I'm going to try and get that one out Sunday, but I may release the other video before it. But I did do the diesel heater. That was an absolute game changer on the drive there because it was 30, 37, 38 degrees, something like that, on the drive out there. And I was in T-shirt and jeans in my bus, which was absolutely
So I'm going to ask
amazing.
you this question. So if a guy, let's say a guy, not your brother, like a regular person comes in and says, "Hey, want a diesel heater in my car? Can you put it in for me?" How many hours does it take to put the diesel heater in? Like now that you've done one, and if everything, like you said, get this, show up, and I can.
So
do
there
it
are
in X
certain
amount of
things
hours.
that my bus lent itself well to it. Number one being I have an auxiliary fuse panel in the back of my bus that I power all my accessories off of. My fuel pump, my fan for my cooler, several other things off of it. So the power supply for me was nothing. All I had to do was tap into my fuse panel in the rear. So that made the install way easier. You have to be willing to cut your bus. I had to cut a 4-inch hole in my floor that the turret mount goes into. And because the tank it came with was this giant 5-liter tank, I custom made a separate tank that sits in my engine compartment because I didn't want diesel inside my bus. I didn't want to mount that tank underneath my seat, have to lift my seat up and pour diesel in there, potentially spill it, and all I would hear all night. And I don't want to smell diesel all night, but my wife would complain constantly about it. So, yeah.
I don't think that Angel looks about that.
Oh,
so.
she loved the heater. She was so stoked because what I would do, you can't run it all night. You can run it all night as much as you want, as long as you can put it up with the incessant tapping of the fuel pump. The fuel pump literally like tick, 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 like a clock, and it's pretty loud because it's mounted to the frame.
You can't isolate it somehow?
So I found out now because I found this problem while I'm trying to sleep. I start looking at videos, and they have little like a molded plastic that goes over it that's full of foam, so it'll lessen it. So like you'll still hear a little bit of it. There are workarounds for it, and supposedly there is a silent pump available on Amazon for $55.
It's like under
I
your
spent
head,
$139 for my whole kit.
So the kit's $140. How many hours to put that kit in?
Now,
Again, you said you had some advantages of the extra power port and some other stuff. So if you had to do it,
if you were doing it, it took me a full day, easily a full day to put in because you have to route things. You have to route a fuel line. You have to route the wiring, and of course I do clean
no
work.
problem.
So
No problem. Let's do the math. Guy brings a bus in, has J tubes, all stuff. Wants you to go through the whole heater system, make the heater work, all this nonsense, whatever. Choke the performance down on his motor, all the stuff, and then put the heater in. Same labor. It's a full day.
Well, the advantage.
No.
One,
Am I right?
Yeah.
Full day. If you had to take somebody's exhaust off.
To do new heat, no, you wouldn't be there for 8 hours. You
No,
could
no,
actually get it dialed.
No,
in.
listen what I'm saying. You have a bus, comes in, 95% of the buses, heaters don't work. Somebody brings you a bus and says, I want heat now.
Well, heater boxes are pretty expensive. You're about $700 on a set of heater boxes.
But that's what I'm
a
saying.
good set.
So somebody walks in and says, I want heat now. What do I got to do? You're going to be cheaper getting the diesel heater and more reliable and be able to have a better
The main
experience,
advantage of the diesel heater is because I would say the majority of buses on the road that actually travel the road are on performance headers. I don't know about the majority, but a good chunk of them are on performance headers. Like I have an A1 Sidewinder on mine. You have custom exhaust on your bull run bus, the Orb,
I've got Type 4s in both my things.
You know, like, but you
On and
once you get into a custom manifold, exhaust manifold, you don't have the heat anymore. So, like Andy's bus in the garage there, he has a diesel heater for that very reason. He's running an A1, and he lives in the UK where it's cold.
Yeah,
they're cold more than they're warm there.
I'm half tempted to put one in the double cab. It'd be cool.
Well, Sean wants to buy one. As soon as I put in a lot of people want to actually get them installed in there because they are work wise. I'm telling you right now, that was the most comfortable drive I've ever had to Busted by the Bridge. And I was in T-shirt and jeans, and I was lured into this illusion that it was actually really nice weather. And when I stopped at that Terribles with the McDonald's on the way to Searchlight Way, and I got out to put gas in, it was 30-something degrees with 30-mile-an-hour winds. And as soon as I got out of the bus, it was absolutely freezing.
And yours is not hooked up because yours is a panel, so you don't have the heater log in your car?
I don't have the heater log in the back, but I do have the tube in the front, and I'm contemplating going in. But the thing is, like, I didn't need it. Here's another problem I made, and I go over some of these things in my video. I bought a 5K unit. A 5K unit could do like a Sprinter van or a small Airstream. It's a bit overkill for a VW bus.
So for my double cab, what would you
The 2K.
suggest? The 2K.
The 2K. My friend Lance did it in his, Lance Suggett, and he did
Lance,
two.
suck it, bro.
He did a 2K unit, and he says it'll maintain a nice temperature. The problem with mine, it does have a thermostat. You set it to set thermostat, and it won't ever shut off. All it does is drop down to low, and with how small my compartment is, low is it's still cooking you. Not to mention the incessant tapping. So I made short work of it by I would turn the heater on, warm the bus up. Like literally you could walk up to my bus and touch the metal, and it was warmer than the outside temperature. So it had a nice soak of heat in it. And then I'd shut it off when we went to bed. And, you know, you wake up in the middle of the night, it's a little chilly. I just have to hit one button. The heater fires up. I let it warm the bus again, and I would shut it off again. It worked out wonderfully. But buses was awesome. The Lantern Walk was giant. Shout out to Andy Kimball for hooking me up with my sticker, because I was like 10 feet away from the guy when he ran out of stickers. And my lantern has every Lantern Walk sticker on it. So Andy was cool enough to give me one of his stashes for, you know, people back home that didn't make it out to the Lantern Walk. So thank you.
So is it the Chubu diesel heater?
No, mine's Happy Buy. I sent you a link to it.
All right, bro.
It's called Happy Buy.
I'm trying
And
to
I'd
buy it.
recommend the 2K unit for those of you guys doing out there. Now, even Lance went with an aftermarket tank. They're going to send you this big 5-liter tank, and it's very tall. And like in a, if you have like a Westphalia Weekender, it fits in their cabinetry because the height of it. But if you have like me, I just have a Westphalia bed in mine. I don't have any cabinetry. You'd be hard pressed to find a place to put that thing in your bus to where you'd be comfortable with it being there. Like I've seen people put them behind their seats in the front. That seems like insanity to me. Like I would never want it there because you're pouring diesel in the car, and if you spill it, if anybody's ever worked with diesel, that smell permeates and it gets into everything, and it will not leave there for a very, very long time. So I made sure to put my fuel tank in the engine compartment with it. And like I said, I got a video coming out on it that I hope you guys like when you check it out. Go to the Wagon on YouTube channel and get yourself subscribed to it. Get some tutorials, and you'll see some cool stuff coming up. Buses was a success. Such a great time as normal. You know, hundreds of buses are. I think they were at, when I pulled in, I was 278, and I was on Thursday. So they had, I think, total count was 5 something. They put a post about it. I don't remember the exact number. But such a great event. I absolutely love that show. It's hands down one of my favorite. And Las Vegas Volkswagen Club, we do it right in our camp space. We have, you know, we make menus and everything like that. It's awesome. We have a great time with it.
Now, were there any buses? So, because I've usually gone for a day, so
Yeah.
I'll go out there to look to see if there's any cool new buses or anything like that, anything unique out there, and then check out who might be in the vending spots, stuff like that. Anything like that? That was pretty cool.
You don't get too many people debuting buses at Buses by the Bridge because it's more of a camping event. It's not, I don't know. I honestly don't walk around looking for that. I'm swapping most of the time, like, because when you walk around the campsites, usually people are swapping at the campsites. Like they're selling wares. So like you're walking around checking this guy's stuff out, and I because I'm immersed in VWs every day of my life, I sometimes turn the VW off in my head when I walk around the shows, and I don't really look at cars. There are obviously beautiful cars there, but I just kind of enjoy the show for what it is when I'm there. But I had an absolute blast, and my bus did great. I did my IRS conversion right before Buses by the Bridge last year. My bus has not been on the rack. I haven't. I think I changed my oil, but because I did a couple road trips throughout the year, but I haven't had to do one thing to my rear suspension since I've done that IRS conversion. Whereas with my swing axle, every year I had to mess with things, either leaking wheel seal kits, just always problematic. So I cannot recommend enough to people to convert your buses to IRS when you lower them. It's so much nicer. The ride quality's better. The stability on the road's better.
Well, speaking of that, we actually ordered from
Brian over at Type E Motorsports.
Brian at Type E Motorsports. Shout out to Brian if you guys are looking for IRS
I
conversion
just installed a set of your plates for Todd Schaefer. They just ordered them, and I got Shane Muncie ordered another set that I'll be installing next week. So shout out to Type E Motorsports. He makes some really nice product.
Yeah, we're doing
and all the stuff Jason Dunkel's bought. I've done quite a bit of Type E stuff at my shop.
So because the bus has hydraulics on it, the Bull Run bus we're doing an IRS conversion. So as soon
it
as
just lends itself so much better,
soon
especially with adjustable suspension.
Yeah, as soon as we switch to the IRS, then I'm just going to go full steam on getting that done.
Yep.
So I'm excited to get the Bull Run bus back on the road.
Yeah, the paint came out killer. Kenny did a really nice job on that.
Yep. I talked to Kenny recently. If you see, Kenny Fitzer's been doing that drift bus, wide body, electric, 900 horsepower. I talked to him the other day. He says, "Dude, you got to drive it." He says, if you come here, if you're man enough, you can drive it." He says, "It's freaking scary."
I can only imagine.
It's like scary fast.
That scene where he's pulling out of the power line just roasts the tires effortlessly. Obviously, there's no weight in the thing too, so of course it's going to kill him. But dude, it just looks cool.
It has it's like 900 wheel horsepower. So
I had these people in the shop yesterday that are like looking to film a commercial or something like that, and they were like, "What do you think about electric ones?" And I pulled up Kenny's thing and I showed him that video. Like, that's
yeah. And the guy that builds the carbon fiber bus body is here in town. I've reached out to him. We had a short conversation. I'm supposed to go by the shop where they're at. He did send me photographs of the shop where it's at, and I know that it's going to be near Sirius and Valley View areas. There's a shop over there somewhere where they're making this. I'm going to reach out to the guy again and see if I can go do a video.
What are they mounting
a short video?
What's the chassis?
Like, bro, I got a lot of questions.
Does he supply a chassis, or it's just the bodies
I
they
don't know.
supply?
There's a guy putting one together. It's Lopez Motorsports or something. Lopez Customs by Lopez or something like that.
I'd be interested to see
anyway,
that.
they're
if you're gonna go to that
one.
shop, you call your brother and I'll go with you.
Yeah, they're doing one, and so I'm just gonna kind of see what that's. The guy called me, sent me a message on the podcast and said, "Hey, I build a carbon fiber body. Maybe you want to check it out." So I want to just go follow up with that guy and see what's going on, because his plan was he was looking for a shop that would build him electric ones like those, convert them to electric and all that stuff. And I think,
God, can you imagine that though? That how light it's gonna be. I mean, you add the weight with the batteries though.
right.
Yeah, so I wonder what that works out to. Like how much?
No, I talked to him. I talked to him. I have this answer for you, George. Don't worry. The
In.
body of a VW bus is 700 pounds. The body of that carbon fiber shell is 70.
It's insane, 10%.
Right,
Huh?
right. So,
and what about rigidity? Is it the multiple layers like a VW body, meaning there's an inner shell and outer shell that comes together?
Yeah.
Does it have some sort of inner structure? We need to get these questions answered.
No comprende, homeboy. But I'll find out that information for you. Also, I will be in August. I'm going to be at the Viva Skeg Vegas show.
You just skipped right over the Grand National Roadster.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, you took Zorba down
on.
there. I see a trophy over your
Hold
shoulder
on, bro.
for 75 granddaddy pick. So come
That's
on,
right.
dude. Let's go into this.
So went to the Roadster
Stay
show.
focused. Tune in bread, bro.
Went to the grocery store. I went to the Grand National Roadster show. And so they have an event called the Granddaddy Drive-In, which is a drive-in event that they do on Saturday and Sunday. They have there's an option to do a 1 day or a 3 day. I couldn't get there on Friday, so I just did the 1 day and wanted to get down there. I actually contemplated earlier this year of actually displaying the car inside and just, going for an award with like Sport Compact or something. Mm-hmm. But it was just way too much. Like the vision I have of what I would do for a display for that car would be super cool. And it's hard to get the look of that car.
Like feta and olives and
whatever, dude. Feta, olives, an olive tree in the background, me in a toga, on a bench, writing down some philosophical stuff.
Just some sandals on.
Whatever. Hey, and just calling everybody. Hey. Yeah. So, went down there with the wife and rolled in first thing in the morning on Saturday. We left Vegas at 4 a.m. By the time we actually were rolling on the highway, it was 5. So I got to the Roadster show, parked in the trailer park and unloaded the car and rolled in with like the last batch of people that were coming in. And so they normally fill in all the spaces between all the buildings, and then they do the air in front of the Suede Palace and all these other areas around throughout the complex there. And then there's like this big square parking lot area that's got to be it's got to be 5 acres. So it's a 5 acre section. And I was just kind of trapped in that, like second row back, tucked away, and like right when they parked
not like a premium space or something.
No, and right when they parked me, like a blue boogie van pulled up right next to me, dude. Big disco van, and it was just like, could you put anything larger next to me, right? So at any rate, I was like, what, this is cool, I'm here, I'm not really expecting anything. And they have some sponsor picks that go around, and the sponsor picks are, ARP, whoever they sponsor, they go and pick a couple cars that they like. And then they do like a top, I don't know if it's 20 or 10. It didn't seem like that many. It may have been 15, but it seemed to me there was 2,000 cars there. Now it says anywhere between 800 to 1,000 cars are there in the Granddaddy Drive-In on Saturday. There was like whatever it is, top, let's just say it's top 24 cases. There were 2 people that came by my car and said, "Oh my gosh, I love this car. I'm picking you for an award." So, I got picked by 2 people for awards. And so they said, here, take this up at 4:00 and your award. And so I thought it'd just be a sponsor award, but then they got rid of the sponsor awards and then Granddaddy picks. And Zorba got one of those, which.
So what's a Granddaddy pick? Fill us in.
So the Granddaddy pick is the top 20 cars that they pick
Throughout the entire,
through all the cars
not
that
just
are
the
there.
parking lot you're in, everywhere throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, it's all the cars that are not parked in buildings, all the cars that are just there for the
Yeah.
Granddaddy drive-in.
Okay.
So it's I felt like it's
That's
a
cool,
pretty
dude.
big deal to be
That is.
recognized. Not to mention,
If you're saying 1,000 and it was a top 20, that's a pretty small percentage.
right.
So they're picking the cream of the crop, like literally the cream rising to the top, and that car deserves it. It's beautiful.
And everybody that saw it, so it's crazy. The guy that was next to me, he is an artist. His name is Ron. I want to say like Ron.
How about just Ron?
No, it's so his. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, and I should have wrote it down because I just thought of this. So he's a metal artist, and so he does a lot of creative, like wild cars. He built this like aircraft engine 16-cylinder
Ron Berry?
car for.
Did he make that funky bus, that cartoony looking bus?
No, not the
Okay,
guy in
okay.
St. George. No,
Okay.
I know you're talking about. No. So this guy built this car for. He has a bus where he took a Devco milk truck and widened it 8 inches and then put a bus on top of it and then
That's kinda
kind of
cool.
metaled on the way back. So the guy's an artist. Anyway, he and I are sitting there talking and he says, "Oh, these are cool Gias, man. I had one in the 80s and we flared the fenders and we did all this stuff to it." And
Yeah.
then his buddy showed up and they they're talking about all their time in the 80s, cutting up all these cars and doing this stuff. So I'm going to get him on the podcast because he's modified. So he's a metal sculptor and he's done a bunch of
Done a few
Volkswagen stuff.
VWs, obviously.
So he was there. I get chatting with him, and then just kind of checked it out. I saw Lionel. Shout out to Lionel from Type 3 Army was down there, and he's doing good, restoring all the steering columns. So he's
Great
knocking those
job.
out of the park. And I ran into Mike with the GTV Bug that's over in Pennsylvania. So connected with him for a minute. Dave Rosique, a couple guys down there. And a few years ago, I think there was way more Volkswagens there at that show when like the Volkswagen thing
Yeah,
was.
when
A
they
lot of
premiered, yeah.
guys came in on Saturday for that event. So with the Roadster show, for that event to get in, it's like $100 for the Granddaddy drive-in. And that covers you and a passenger. And I think when we parked last time, it was $10 or $20 to park. I can't recall. And then
I
to
think
get
20.
in was like $40, $50 a person, So really, if you think about the drive-in part of it, it's actually cheaper to do the drive-in for $100, and then you get your car inside there. In addition to, I was talking to Wayne Callahan with the 60-watt Bug that Buddy Hale built. He said he was in line for an hour and a half to get the gate.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
like, that's commitment because I'd have probably just like, I'm out of here. Yeah, So when and I was able to pull in early in the morning, got in, got parked, but it was really cool. Zorba was received unbelievably well. I actually walked to the car at the end of the day, and of course people chuck flyers and all that stuff in there. And then there was a sticker for Nicole Johnson's Detour. So if you guys haven't checked out that YouTube channel, Nicole Johnson's Detour is the gal that she's here in Vegas. She used to be a monster truck driver, and she's done a bunch of King of the Hammer stuff and all kind of stuff like that. She does a video with a 500 horsepower Subaru. Is the most popular one. That was the first video they launched. So they do YouTube videos on cars, and they put stuff in my car. I've been on the phone with the producer. We're going to do a conference call next week, and we're possibly going to do a video with Zorba. And so I'm pretty excited about that because there's nothing better than like when you see your car like almost like professionally shot, like some nice footage and stuff like that. And I've been thinking about a lot of ways, like where's the best place to take Zorba to be seen. And it's like, it got so much love at the Roadster show, just from the people, like first trying to figure out what it was.
Yeah.
Second, they loved the workmanship when they saw the whole theme of the car coming together. People were just really, really into it. And anybody that had any Volkswagen background was just mystified by the wheels. They're just like, what are these wheels? Where'd you get these from? And then I'm like, explaining they're derived from a Kleeblatt, but there's, some had them made by rims carnated and stuff like that. So bro, I was on cloud 9, man. When I got that award, I was like, dude, this is rad, man, because there's hundreds and hundreds of cars out there. And I'm talking like not slouchy cars, like a lot of really, really nice cars. Matter of fact, I ran into Art from DKP1 out there. So probably be getting him on the podcast coming up. And his car was out there. There was, and I have a video that'll be coming out, the Volkswagens at the Roadster show. and I think there might have been 6. You know, one thing I didn't get was this buggy that I saw over there. I saw it in another video I was watching. But yeah, the Roadster show is cool. You know, I really like that event. It's so big, and part of the challenge is whenever you get to car shows, you know, Coach Bob, he was like, dude, I got to leave because every time I'm walking, I run into somebody and like, oh, hey, what's going on? Then we start chatting. He's like, I'm trying to look at cars. I got to get out of here. So he takes.
It's tough being popular. Huh?
Well, it's not even that. It's just, you know, you just run into people from here, there, or wherever. And it's like, oh, hey, let's catch up for a few minutes. And I mean, I had never went to the Suede Palace. I had only gone through the main buildings and like 2 of the alleyways. I mean, and I even see, it's almost like you have to do both days. And I think I'm going to start going every year because I dig the event. The weather's fantastic. There's so much cool stuff to see there. I like it because there's
it's a good time of year because it's cool.
Yeah,
it's like
but
cool
there's so much
not cold.
There's so much going on. So many cars see, and my favorite thing is getting motivated and inspired by seeing all these cars at the Roadster show. Like, I mean, you just see the coolest of the cool stuff down there.
The highest level
know?
of cars, I'm sure.
And it takes like, bro, it's a day to see everything.
Oh,
it's a
for sure.
day.
Well, that's why it's a 3-day show, huh?
Rivieras, it was like, bro, can we park the Rivieras already? There's Rivieras everywhere I turn around. Can't I turn around with your arm out? I mean, there was a handful. I noticed all the Rivieras because obviously I have one. But yeah, it was good. I would recommend the Roadster show to you guys. It would be really cool to see more Volkswagens on display inside. And I think,
well, do they allow any car to get, like, you can just sign up for it?
There's a class, yeah.
Do you have to be approved? Like, what's the process
you
to get your car inside?
Yeah, you submit photographs of your car and some stuff like that, and then they'll approve it. You can go to their website's rodshows.com. So go check it out. Their next show's up in Sacramento. I'd encourage you guys, if you guys got a really cool car and you want to and want to kind of go all out, do a display and all that stuff. I mean, it's worth it to go in there and do an interior feature on your car. It's kind of cool. The thing for me was, you know, if I were to do that, it becomes $1,000 weekend because I got to get a room Friday night, Saturday night, and you know, hotel rooms in California.
Every trip out of town is about $1,000 weekend.
They're not, but if you come to Vegas, listen, all the money you can make at the casino gets it all back in your pocket, bro.
And we get you nice, cheap rooms, by the way, at One Crazy Weekend. Shout out to One Crazy Weekend.
That's
Go
right.
to letstalkdubs.com, hit that Showtime link, and register for the show. Get your room booked, get your show booked, get all that stuff booked. And make sure you book out the whole weekend. Do the car show and the poker run both.
Yeah, you owe it to yourself. Listen, you work too hard. You know, the boss is grinding. He's breathing down your neck. It's time to get your register for. I'm super excited for the event. We're going to be reaching out to some sponsors for some 80s cars that are being built this year. So if you guys are any people out there listening that are potential sponsors for the event, no, George already sponsored. But I'm talking about we're going to be needing rubber. We're going to be needing some upholstery stuff. We're going to be needing a lot of stuff for a couple different cars.
Nice thing. Our sponsor last year was Impy, and Impy makes about 95% of the product we need. Hey, Impy, let's get on board.
Well, I haven't reached out to anybody for sponsorship yet. I'm gonna go directly to a few rubber companies, see if they want to be on board on this, and just give people an opportunity to sponsor. Part of your sponsorship package will be you'll get a free display booth at One Crazy Week. I'm excited for this year for the layout for I think the nighttime shots will just be incredible in that parking lot because.
So we could have Eric help make something and actually make a photo op for that corner.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean, where people can pull in throughout the weekend. Well, have someone there that's manning it to make sure it doesn't go crazy.
But I'm almost thinking like when you come up that parking garage, just something. We don't even need the backdrop of the city. If you come up that and there's this thing where you come up and you pull around the corner to start getting line to register, or there could be something in the background set up where it's like a welcome to Vegas or something. Yeah. I think it's gonna be something cool. And this year I'm going to dig deep and go to Temu and get some costume jewelry chains
all the way to Temu. My God.
For the neck lanyards, I think that's
dude. You really have stepped it up, bro.
Hey, you're welcome.
You're gonna go all the way to your phone.
That's right. Well, look, bro. You listen.
Can we do some fisherman caps too? So you'd have a stupid dookie link and a fisherman cap.
Maybe, bro. You don't know, dude. You don't know. EPMD keeping it real. But yeah. So again, before we start talking about the Roadster show, I did mention that we're going to be at Viva Skeg Vegas this year. So if you guys are in the UK listening,
That's freaking awesome, by the way. I think that's so super cool that they're doing that.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Are they paying for your rooms or anything like that out there? Are they hooking you up, or no, you just
they're
got to sponsor your own
they're bringing me out there. Some of the stuff is yet to be determined, but they've definitely invited me out there, and
That's
so we're going to be interviewing some of the guys in the UK up on the stage. So that'll be pretty rad to get some of their stories and talk about.
When you were in Europe, do you get a lot of a lot of listeners?
Bro,
are they coming up to you like, dude, let's
I was telling someone this the other day. I was telling someone about that. So I was trying to find, my guy sent me one of the people from that does a car show in Australia. He does I'm looking for, is this it? No. There's a Volkswagen show in Australia, and a guy hit me up and said, "Hey, would you give me a shot at my show, a shout out?" So I'll give a shout out next week for this big show going down in Australia. And but talking about the people recognizing, I was at Bad Camber, and I'm talking to somebody, and then I yelled to a guy. I said, "That's a good looking shirt right there." And there's a guy walking with a Let's Talk Dub shirt, and the guy turns around and goes, "That's got to be Bill T, because I recognize that voice anywhere." I've had several people come to me and say, "I recognize your voice," because I listen to Let's Talk Dubs all the time.
Well, you got a face for radio, so I mean,
correct. So there was two guys. There was the two Darrens from Ireland are the ones that I saw, and for the life of me off the top of my head, my boys from Australia, they were there at the event too. So in Germany, I saw two guys from Australia, both podcast listeners, both heavy into the scene in Australia, and two guys from Ireland. So it was super cool, man. And you know, we get feedback all over. You know, the podcast's been downloaded since you're bringing this up.
Yeah.
I just look at the stats. There's almost 600,000
awesome.
downloads.
How many episodes yet?
100,000.
What is this?
This is going to be 303.
There you go.
Episode
303, guys. I mean,
that's the thing. That's a lot.
It's commitment.
It is.
Just doing my YouTube channel. It's commitment.
Yeah.
And I've missed a couple weeks just because, like, if you don't have the footage, you don't have the footage.
And there's so much.
And I don't want to put out trash videos. I mean, I don't. I really am trying to keep it to where I'm putting out good content.
And there's a lot to talk about. I mean, I had you look at the new VW trends. Or I'm sorry,
Hot VWs.
The new Hot VWs that came out. We're going to discuss VW trends next week.
I think this is a pamphlet about Hot VWs because I don't think it's the thickness of a magazine.
But no.
I'm looking at the old magazines right here in front of us.
Yeah.
And they're thick.
Yeah, but Barrett Enterprises.
Some weight.
But Barrett Enterprises used to have a 6-page ad. So my first impressions of Hot VWs magazine. I was pleasantly surprised by the variety of featuring this episode.
I would agree with that.
So that's why I want to know.
Chick Iverson bus. You got the electric bus. You got Joey Giordano's.
Shout out to Joey G for the feature.
Our poker run winner.
That's right.
Go back to the poker run real quick. Like every year, my wife wants to do it, and I tell her no because how bad that would look.
No, it doesn't matter.
But I tell you what, I'm bowling in that bowling tournament.
Oh,
and there ain't no fixing a bowling tournament. That's the throw, baby. That's the throw, baby.
Listen, there's no fixing the poker tournament, so you need to let your wife play the poker tournament.
So there isn't, but I would hate that. I wouldn't like it if I went to a show and the guy's wife won. I'd be like, that'd be booty. So we also got a local boy in there, the Brian Arnold, that Eric Arnold shot his bug there from Against the Rest.
Yeah.
There's a good variety of cars in here. The Thing, a beautiful Thing, a nice square back, Gia.
But my point
they're all over the place, which is cool.
Normally, there's this phone will not stop today.
It's almost like you have a job. It's almost like we're both supposed to be at work right now. Instead, we're doing a podcast early in the morning to get out for you guys.
Louise. Anyway, I was pleasantly surprised. It's good to see a little bit of variety in the magazine because the last issue that came out, which had on the cover, it was Dean Kirsten and Ron Fleming with the cow look bug.
Yeah, I remember that. They're shaking hands over the car.
Yeah, I was there that weekend.
Yep.
I was there throughout that week. The
that was
cow look
European
caravan.
bugging.
That was cow look caravan, European bugging, all that stuff. That picture was taken from the Volkswagen factory, so it was definitely something that was great.
That was one for the books.
If you want to check out the videos for it, I'm getting ready to release the last video. Well, when I say getting ready to release, I've got it in my editing bay. It's 2/3 edited. I'm going to go through, clean up a little bit. That'll be the 4th installment of the videos of the Cowlook Caravan. I'm going to get on my YouTube channel, start sorting some videos out so that they're grouped in playlists so you can watch them one after the other.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing mine too.
But that Cowlook Caravan was a spectacular time. This year we're going to do something different again with Russell Ritchie. We're going to be there's going to be another Cowlook Caravan that's going to be going to it's going to go to Air Mighty. That will be happening. Yeah. So this year, Cow Look Caravan 2025 celebrating 50 years of the Cow Look at the Air Mighty show. So we're going to be going this year. So I've got Viva Skeg Vegas in August, and then in September we're going to be going. Oh, you better get your passport, bro.
Get your life right.
Get your life right, George. We're going to be going to Aberdeen. We're going to fly to Scotland. We're going to connect with Russell, and we're going to caravan some cars, some Cow Look cars, all the way over to the Air Mighty show, which is going to be a great time. The Air Mighty show is it's a really cool show. I mean, Niels does an awesome job just making, if you listen to the podcast with Niels' background is marketing, advertising and marketing. So you can completely tell.
That's why that magazine looks the way it does.
Right. From what he does.
He understands what plugs into the brain.
Right. And it's, which
I don't even have a subscription to that magazine, but every time I see one,
I just subscribed.
Every time I see one, I pick it up and I look at it. It's a beautiful magazine.
I just subscribed because I thought to myself, why am I not supporting Niels? Niels puts a lot of work in that magazine. And so I subscribed to it. I also got, Zorba. That's the first published picture of Zorba.
Oh, the Valley of Fire pictures.
Is in the magazine, shot by Vegas Micah G. And it's a pretty cool. And I'm stoked to be in their portfolio issue because they're all just photographs that are really cool. I mean, honestly, when you get a magazine, your whole goal is like, man, I just want to look at pictures of cars, right? And there you go. Even Andy Fitch's bus is in there.
Yeah.
They did that. They did that out of sympathy. They felt sorry for him. Like, bro, Bill's getting all the attention. Let's chuck Andy's bus in here, bro.
It's been so long since Andy's got a magazine, so let's put him on here.
Yeah,
He gets multiple covers.
Throw him a bone. Throw him a bone. So, yeah, lots happened over the past couple few months, and I'm excited for this summer that's coming up. So. The summer, a little frustrated about the layout of the
We're
California
gonna go to the
weekend.
revival. We have to. It's the first one, dude. We have to check it out.
Yeah.
Even if you and I just bomb up for a weekend and go check. Just let's see how it does.
The thing
I like to support, especially when somebody's trying something new.
I'm with you.
I'll go and support.
I'm with you. My
And
point,
Andy's a good dude. I like Andy.
My point is think about it.
There's they stack them. I get it.
But think just think about this. Kawisi Howard and Boogie. We met both them guys from the VI.
Yeah.
Both them dudes were chilling at the hotel. They rented a car. They stayed at the hotel. I'm rolling out the double cab. I'm like, you guys want to hop in? We're going to Cars with Coffee. Like, ride the double cab. They hopped in. How many times have we been down at that show? And it's like someone's from out of town, didn't bring a car. And I was like, there's a dude from Jersey. I can't remember his name. But I mean, way back in the day, dude had the little Palm Pilot with the GPS on it and all this stuff. But he's one of the bus guys, East Coast Jersey dude. I can't remember his name, but he was out there. It's like so many people that were out there. Like, oh man,
by out there is referring to the Crown Plaza where we would stay.
Right.
And so when he saw Kawisi and
Boogie, yep.
They came in rental cars because they were from the Virgin Islands, and they jump in with you. I mean, we've done that at so many shows, and also like when that's the VW community right there. When people come to Vegas.
But we have.
I know you handed your keys to cars to people, and I was like, "What are you doing, bro?"
Well, listen, man. I mean, my thought is like, how cool, how fun is that? How fun is that?
Georgia fix them.
How fun is that you can? I mean, listen, bro. Think about little Torrey Alonso, bro. His whole world, all his life dreams came true.
Yeah.
When he was driving down the strip next to Steve Connect and the Cal Dub and. I mean, he was tearing up, bro. He came back to the hotel. He's like, bro, it was like a dream come true. I said, relax, dude. We just cruise a strip.
Relax. Shadow, relax.
So, anyway, I'm excited for what we have coming up this summer and looking forward to all these events. But if you guys want to check out what's happening with that Cow Look Caravan Cruise, go check out their website at cowlookvw.com. It just kind of explains the whole layout of the event. So, it's going to be cool. I'm looking forward to be part of that, and I should be on the list. Oh, I'm on the list right there,
Look
bro.
at you.
Lanny Hussey's gonna be there.
Special.
Dean Kirsten, Steve Widener, bro. Everybody's going. Sam,
Why and
Dix,
I are in there.
Mark, bro. You got to get a passport, George. You got to get a passport first. So
George from the wagon, where's that at, bro? Come on.
Let this be a lesson to all you guys. Life is too short to not have a passport and go across the world and go.
I've never even seen the Grand Canyon. Why am I leaving this country?
Bro, you got issues, dude. You got issues. So
I can't remember if we saw the Grand Canyon's kids, but I don't recall it.
But next week will be the next time we do Roundtable, we'll be evaluating some VW Trends latest issue that they came out just recently. And other than that, there's lots going on. We'll probably report back next, I would think, after this summer, the summer VW weekend. We'll do a quick podcast, maybe just kind of a recap of that weekend, what's going on with all that. But there's definitely something coming up. I'm excited for the second weekend during the DKP weekend. Again, I said I'm working with something with Dean Curson, and it's going to be super cool. So we'll definitely be getting you guys, as soon as I can make the information public, I'll let you guys know, and it's going to be a great time. So I think that's about it. George, anything else? Anything else you got rolling up? We got the 2276 you're putting together that we might sneak into the back of the Gia TC.
Yeah, the Gia TC, not going in Zorba. Zorba staying as is, bro.
Listen, bro, we're gonna work all the bugs
You'll
out
have to do
in
that
the
one
TC,
yourself.
and I might just, bro, I got a jack and I got a 17
Yeah.
millimeter, bro. I just
The
get
Gia TC, that'll be cool now because it's so ugly it needs to be fast.
whoa.
Where Zorba's so beautiful, she can
Watch
be
yourself,
slow and
bro.
low.
Watch yourself, bro.
The TCs need some help.
Don't be
so
talking
ugly.
about the TC like that. The TC is straight up stab you, dude. TC is from Brazil.
Brazil.
From Brazil. I got a lot of feedback on my Brazil podcast last week where we got a lot of
Let me step on that one because
a lot of emotions
This guy
on the
right
Brazil
here.
stuff.
This guy right here. So when Dunkel mentioned the fact he was buying a Brazilian double cab, he goes, "Oh, it's German." I said, "It's being built in Brazil."
Correct.
So in Dunkel's double cab, we have rewired it, all new switches, every brake line has been changed, the front suspension, the transmission, the motor. We basically sunk another $20-something thousand into a bus that you're not saving a penny on when you go the Brazilian route.
Well, so let's say, what's he got in it? 50?
He's probably up to 50 now. He could have bought a clean.
Yeah, so pause right there.
Yeah.
No. You find me a clean, freshly redone everything double cab for 50. It ain't happening.
But his still needs more.
Find one that has all the work that's done to his for
Mm-hmm.
50. Just send it to me.
Well, I have one at my shop that's 60.
No, that's 10,000 more, and it doesn't have new wiring. It doesn't have new. You know what I mean? So again, listen.
Just be prepared.
The moral to that story is there's no free lunch.
Nope.
It doesn't happen. Bro. Free
There's
hamburgers.
nobody's like hanging on to
tomorrow.
these things, like waiting for you to come by to buy it, and it's going to be this amazing car that just slipped through the cracks, and you're the lucky guy that got a good one out of Brazil. There's no such thing as that.
I put a post up last week that I was looking. A friend of mine's looking for a bus for the beach, his house, California, and he's like, "Yeah, I just don't want something that's leaking oil everywhere and doing all this kind of stuff." So I said, "Doesn't want something that leaks oil," and then a bunch of people are chiming in like, "They all leak oil." Like, no, not really. Not if they're built
I park
decent.
my bus in my driveway and it doesn't leak a drop.
And so, anyway, when I put that post up, I said, looking for a bus for a friend of mine, and there's a guy I got to follow up with a bay window. It's a pretty nice bay window at a fair price. And when I put that post out there, I was just getting inundated by people from Brazil. I'm in Brazil. I have buses. I'm in Brazil. Like 3, 4, 5 guys were just racking me up. This whole day, this people just ramming me up. So,
So the guy hit you up about the Brazilian thing?
no, a lot of people are just messaging me from Brazil. I have a bus for sale.
Oh.
Let me know, blah, blah, blah. At any rate, yeah, there's lots going on. If you haven't heard that podcast, go back and check that one out. Go check out my YouTube channel at Let's Talk Dubs. Follow me on Instagram, like me on Facebook, and don't forget to go check out George's channel.
YouTube channel, The Wagon, WAGEN,
Website.
thewagon.com.
And then
Instagram's The Wagon, WAG.
So
Facebook's The Wagon.
go give them a follow. Don't forget to support our sponsor if you guys want more information on Let's Talk Dubs. On the One Crazy Weekend, go to letstalkdubs.com. Click on the tab that says, on the drop-down window, click on the tab that says Showtime. Matter of fact, I just even moved a button right to the main screen that says Showtime. So
Good man.
go check it out. You guys will enjoy it. It's going to be the best weekend of your life. It's all about hanging out, camaraderie, and everybody getting together. So until next week, guys, later.